Hello, everyone. I'm Major Garrett in Washington. Tonight on America Decides, is there an art of the deal when it comes to tariffs? Well, there just might be. The White House says multiple countries, the number ranges from 50 to 70, are trying to negotiate over the tariffs that President Trump announced last week. The stock market today initially responded positively to talk of potential deals. Then it most certainly didn't. An early morning rally fizzled late in the day, with the Dow wiping out a 14-point initial gain, closing all three indices down. That means in the red. China is not negotiating. This is important. The world's second largest economy called President Trump's new tariffs, quote, a mistake upon a mistake, end quote. Starting tomorrow, we're all going to live in a different place because imported goods to the United States from China will be subject to a tariff of, brace yourself, 104%.
I think it was a big mistake, this Chinese escalation, because they're playing with a pair of twos. Many of our trading partners, they have queued up, and they have kept their cool. They have not escalated, and they will get priority in the queue.
I want to start tonight, as we have been so many nights in the last couple of weeks, with Kelly O'Grady in New York. Kelly, great to see you. So, again, we always remind our audience this is not a stock market show. The stock market isn't purely the U.S. economy, but the volatility does matter because it's a verdict, at least initially, on what the market is either imagining, expecting, or betting on. And this morning, the expectations were net positive. And then as the day wore on, things slid back into red.
I know. I kept having to check my phone, Major, to see if we were in the red or the green. There was a lot of back and forth on this roller coaster today. And it was really for two reasons. I mean, one, just from the investor perspective, there were a lot of good buying opportunities on the table. A lot of these stocks have lost a lot of money, and some of them are definitely going to be good ones to own in the long term. That's one thing. But more on, what does this all mean in terms of what investors were betting on when it comes to the economy is, as you put it, there was all this talk of negotiations. And as we got closer and closer to this midnight deadline and the closing bell, nothing really materialized in terms of concrete deals that might make that midnight deadline a little less painful. And so why you saw investors pull back is that anxiety and the uncertainty returned that maybe tariffs are going to be going into place as of midnight tonight, and it is going to be as severe as we expected, and that could lead to further inflation, less consumer spending, and you've heard a lot of analysts start to talk about a potential economic slowdown.
And let's just try to quantify this if we can, Kelly, because I looked up on the USTR, U.S. Trade Representative's website. In 2024, United States imported $438.9 billion worth of goods from China. $438.9 billion. We exported $143.5. Therein lies the trade imbalance. But that's a lot of imports from China. Subjected to a 104% tariff, that is going to be noticeable almost immediately.
Well, it's going to be double, right?
Right.
In terms of a little bit more than double. So, yeah, and in fact, I have been talking to businesses that rely specifically on imports from China, big and small, and they are just simply not going to be able to absorb 104%. They're going to have to pass some of that on to the customer. Now, in terms of when that might be noticeable, it's really going to depend on industry. A lot of industries tried to stock up ahead of this. And there are going to be some companies that are bigger that are going to be able to handle this a little bit more. But Major, a lot of the small businesses are very worried that something like this could put them out of business.
Kelly O'Grady, always a pleasure. Thanks so very much. Jennifer Jacobs joins me now from the White House North Lawn. Jennifer, great to see you. We had a briefing in the White House briefing room today. You were there. How'd it go?
It went very well. The first thing I wanted to ask the press secretary was about what I have been told, and that's that the White House is discussing relaxing the tariffs on Israel. The press secretary wouldn't really confirm that, but she did say that discussions are ongoing. And whatever those discussions are, I know that the White House has been pleased because the press secretary said that Israel is the model for nations that are trying to negotiate with the president. So the message today from the White House was the tariffs are on. There isn't going to be a delay. The president met with his trade team in the Oval Office this morning, and the president directed them to do a tailor-made package for each country that is approaching the United States to try to get some wiggle room in its tariffs. So Jameson Greer, the U.S. Trade Representative, is the lead person on that. So they're trying to get the best deal possible for U.S. workers and for companies, domestic companies, that they can. So they're already starting to put together these packages. And the president just now told us that he was even musing about having some of those law firms that made deals with him to escape those punitive EOs, those punitive measures that volunteered to offer some pro bono law services, that he would bring them in to help negotiate some of these deals. He said Japan and Korea are flying in to talk to him. We know that the leader of Italy is coming in next week. And of course, we had Israel yesterday. So a lot of these nations are coming in to make deals. And the big message at the White House today was, yes, we're open for negotiating.
Jennifer, another topic was this public spat between Elon Musk and a trade voice within the Trump White House, Peter Navarro. Elon Musk calling Peter Navarro truly a moron. Peter Navarro saying that Elon Musk's Tesla auto company is really not a manufacturer, it's more of an assembler. And the only reason I bring this up is because Peter Navarro has been out front saying it's not just about tariffs, it's about non-tariff barriers, suggesting that any of these negotiations will be much, much more difficult than just a simple tariff conversation. So I guess I want to put before you, if I could, two questions. How important or unimportant does the White House think this public spat is? And does it in any way indicate that Peter Navarro's influence on the future of these negotiations might be waning?
I'll answer your second question first. I don't think his influence is waning. But what I can tell you, Major, is that there's a lot of tension around the president, and a lot of people have been trying to get in the president's face to explain their view on the tariffs and why they think they're either a good thing or not a good thing. So there's two camps about permanent or not permanent. So I can tell you, we were down in Florida with the president covering him this weekend, and my sources down there said that Mar-a-Lago was just rife with people trying to get his attention. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, was down there, flew down with the president. I know there's been some tension from some Trump advisors about the message that the Commerce Secretary has been delivering, saying it would be, quote unquote, worth it if there were a recession because the tariffs are a good thing, et cetera. I know from one of my sources that the president had dinner on the patio at Mar-a-Lago on Saturday night, and the Commerce Secretary wasn't one of those invited guests for dinner. It was the Secretary of State and the president's personnel director, Sergio Gore, as well as one of the deputy chief of staff, James Blair, and actually Fox News' Judge Jeanine was one of the guests. And it's just interesting, Major, how there's a rope line around the president when he eats down there, and the Secret Service tries to keep everyone back. But there's a lot of people trying to catch his eye, trying to get a moment with him, trying to express to him why the tariffs are hurting their companies, or just a lot of people who are very, very, very passionate about this. So the tension is real. The spat between Elon Musk and Peter Navarro is real. Their disdain for each other we've known it for a little while. Now it's become public. The press secretary explained it today as, listen, we're the most transparent administration in history. Our officials even have their fights in front of you, and boys will be boys, and we'll let them keep on sparring.
Jennifer Jacobs, very well sourced, as always. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.